Hi, I'm Jonathan Marsh, the Director of Mashup Technologies for WSO2, and today I wanted to show you just how easy it is to develop a web service using the WSO2 Mashup Server. So let's start with a simple Hello World service, and in the next screencast we can start to expand this simple service into a full web service mashup. So on this machine, I've installed the Mashup Server as a Windows service, and the little desk tray icon here lets me know that it's running and helps me launch the UI for the Mashup Server. The UI runs inside the browser and helps me manage my Mashup Server users and all the mashups which are hosted here. For this screencast, I've logged in as a Screencast user. We've tried to make it very easy to develop mashups with the simplest tools available. So today I wanted to show you how you can create a mashup using nothing more than Notepad. So if I go to the file system, I see here my Mashup Server program folder. Inside that there's a scripts folder, and this holds all of the scripts which define the mashups for the system. You can see each user of the system has their own folder, and I'll use the Screencast folder to deploy our sample today. So let's make a new text file. We're going to call it Hello World, and this is going to hold the JavaScript logic for our mashup. So I'll give it the .js extension, and we're simply going to edit this in Notepad. And we can start to define the logic for the service. Let's define a function called hello. It'll take a user, and it'll simply echo out the username again. Okay, so now I've written this function. I simply save it, and it will the Mashup server will pick it up and deploy the service. So we can see here that the service was successfully deployed. Let's go back to our UI, and by refreshing this page, the new service will be listed under My Mashups. There, once it appears, we can click on it. We can get more information about the service. You see I have WSDL, I have schema that's been written for the service. I have JavaScript stubs which will help me consume that service in other mashups and in the browser. I have ways to configure message level security and the various transports for the service. But right now I wanted to actually go and try out the service using the Try It page. The Try It page simply builds a form for the service, and I can just execute one of the operations of the service very easily. And you can see that service seems to be working well. So that was so easy. Let's go back and actually add a little more to the service. Let's add another operation. Maybe a goodbye operation. It's going to be similar to the hello operation, but instead of returning a string, let's return some XML. And using the E4X extensions, I can just type XML directly into the JavaScript here, and it will be treated as a native type. So this will return an XML element with this text in. Using the curly brackets, I can insert values into the XML. So now I have two operations. You know, let's do a little more too. Let's add some documentation to the service. You can never have too much documentation. I have a documentation annotation, which I can set. I can also associate documentation with the individual operations. Now, since this is a web service that can be accessed from virtually any platform in the world, it behooves me to do as good a job as I can of describing the inputs and outputs of each operation. This information will result in a more accurate WSDL. It will help clients consume the web service automatically, and it'll really help make things like the Try It page better. So I can use the input types annotation to associate some types with the input parameters for a particular operation. In this case, I'm declaring the user parameter to be a string. And similarly, I can declare the output type of the hello operation. And in this case, it's also a string. I'm going to do something similar with the goodbye function, only in this case, the output type isn't a string, it's actually XML, and I can notate that. And let's go back and refresh the try it page. Now I can see I have my two operations. You can see the documentation that I added to the service. This is really simple, but I still have a clue I'm doing a real web service because I can choose various endpoints to invoke the service over. When I invoke the service, you can see it works. And you can see the XML has been returned. So that's it for today. We've built a web service and a bunch of artifacts to make that service easy to consume. And hopefully this shows you that the WSO2 Mashup Server is one of the simplest ways to develop and deploy a web service. So join me for the next screencast to see how the Mashup Server makes it easy to access other services, to scrape websites, and to combine feeds in order to deploy powerful mashups.